Hello friends, I'm Renz and let's talk about some MAS topics as per your request para di ka na ma-stress. Ayun, so I have called this class some easy to master class. Bakit? Kasi we will talk about some challenging MAS topics and try to make them easier for you. So for this, ang una nating i-discuss dito would be about capital budgeting. So what is capital budgeting? Basically, kung meron kang iniisip na investment that is of large amount and would give you benefits for more than one period or more than 1 year, you are basically doing capital budgeting decision. Now, the process of deciding on whether to accept or reject that project would pertain to capital budgeting. So ano nga ba yung mga kino-consider natin when we do capital budgeting decisions? Una, malaki kasi yung pera na involved for capital budgeting decisions. So we are not inclined towards making a mistake on these decisions. Kaya we evaluate the options that we consider in this decision. Pangalawa, the certainty, very remote, hindi pa certain. Why? Because the events pertaining to this decision are of a future nature pa. Hindi pa nangyayari. So, we need to take caution once making these decisions. Pangatlo, undoable. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo na ma-undo kung ano man yung mistake na magagawa mo in this capital budgeting decisions. Once you make a mistake on this decision, may chance na mag-fail ang business mo because of this one wrong step or misstep in the decision. Kaya kailangan we take caution in making these decisions. And finally, one time, usually, pag minsan pa yung mga capital budgeting decisions would comprise the entire business itself. A feasibility study would sometimes pertain to a capital budgeting decision for an individual. So whether to start up the business or not. So next, what are different capital investments? We have independent and mutually exclusive investments. Pag sinabi nating independent yung investments, they can exist or they can be undertaken individually. Kung wala, you have option A and option B, pwede mong i-take into consideration both projects. Pwede mong i-accept si project A, pwede mo rin i-accept si project B together. Hindi siya kagaya ng mutually exclusive projects. Pag sinabi natin mutually exclusive, yung isang project, pag siya na yung tinanggap mo, hindi mo na pwedeng i-consider yung isa pa. So, you need to choose only either one of them. Hindi pwedeng both. Okay? Types of expenditures, we have two. We have capital and operating expenditures. Pag sinabi nating capital expenditure, ito yung mga expenditures or expenses that would give you benefits pertaining to more than one period. So, pag ganito yung expenditure, what do we usually do? Based on our financial accounting, we recognize them first as assets and we consider them as expenditures or expenses once the benefits are received. So, anong halimbawa ng mga to? Mga property, plant and equipment, which we depreciate throughout their useful lives. Ang operating expenditures naman are the expenses which we receive benefits from for the year when they are spent. Anong mga halimbawa nito? Rent. So when you rent a space, you enjoy the space for a period of 1 month and you pay that rent for 1 month, expense na siya. How do we accept projects kapag sa capital budgeting? We have an accept-reject approach and the ranking approach. Anong difference ng dalawang to? Pag sinabing accept-reject approach, kunwari, you are setting that kailangan itong mga projects na to hindi bababa sa 10,000 ang net present value nila. Those who would meet that 10,000 or exceed 10,000 sa net present value will be accepted. So as long as the project is acceptable based on the requirement that was set by the company, then we will accept the project. Otherwise, reject na siya. So may minimum lang na quota. Or may minimum lang na kailangang ma-meet. Parang sa grade, kailangan mo lang pumasa. Ano naman yung ranking approach? Yung ranking approach, kailangan muna nating i-compute yung value ng bawat isang project na kino-consider. Then, we will rank them from highest to lowest. Yun lang mga nasa taas or upper part, they would be the ones who will be accepted. So kahit na-meet mo yung minimum requirement, kung masyado nang madami yung nakalampas, you might not be selected if you will be using ranking approach. So ano ba ang distinguishing factor ng dalawang project acceptance approach na to? In the accept-reject approach, we are assuming that merong unlimited resources yung company. Meaning, madami siyang pera para ma-accommodate yung mga projects as they come along. Pero sa ranking approach, kapag lang kung magkano yung available mo, you only have 10 million to invest. Kung yung si Project 1 is 5 million, Project 2 is 3 million, Project 3 is 2 million, tapos Project 4, although mataas ang kanyang return, pero pang-apat na siya, tapos ang value ng kanyang investment is 4 million, will you be accepting that project? Even if acceptable siya, you cannot accept it. Why? Kasi kulang na yung funds mo. So, sa ranking approach, this is useful mostly if the company only has a limited amount to invest. So, in capital budgeting, we consider the cash flows that occur for the investment throughout its life. So, pag sinabi nating the cash flow is relevant, we consider two factors: differential and future. Pag sinabing differential, kung meron kang mga kino-consider na projects or investments, magkaiba sila. Or, usually kapag capital budgeting ang decision, you will consider the investment that will be replaced. So, if you have an old asset and then you have a new asset that you will invest in, so kung ano yung current productivity ng old asset versus the new asset. Or kung wala kang papalitan, no asset, assuming you will have the asset. So that's how we consider cash flows to be differential in capital budgeting decisions. Future, meaning hindi pa siya na-i-incur. So you will not consider past cost. Halimbawa na lang, ano yung mga cost na usually hindi mo ko-consider that is usually being given kapag mga ganitong mga problems. We have yung cost ng old asset that will be replaced. That will not be included for your decision-making purposes. The cash flow for initial investment, that would be the cash flow at time zero. Meaning, lahat ng outlay mo minus lahat ng savings or net inflows mo resulting from the investment, from the option that you accepted the investment, will be included as part of your initial investment or the cash flows at time zero. Usually, of course, you would have a net cash outflow at time zero kasi nga, yan ang initial cash outlay mo or yung pinambili mo for the asset. Remember that you are considering cash flows and not the gains or losses. That would be considered later on once you compute for a sample problem. Next, operating cash inflows. Ito naman yung mga periodic cash inflows or outflows resulting from the new investment. So this would be periodic inflows less periodic outflows. Anong halimbawa ng mga to? Increase in income, ano pa? Yung decrease in expenditure or tax savings caused by the new investment, and many others. Terminal cash flow naman is the cash flow at the end of the life of the asset. So, kapag i-retire mo na yung investment, of course, you will receive cash inflows and probably cash outflows from the investment. Anong halimbawa ng mga yan? Siyempre, i-dispose mo yung asset. You would have proceeds from the sale of the new asset at the time of its retirement. Ano pa? Yung tax savings or tax expense resulting from that sale. Ano pa? Dismantling of the asset. Siyempre, kung hindi mo na siya gagamitin, aalisin mo siya dun sa location niya. Ano pa? Yung pagliligpit. And many others. We would have a problem that we will be solving. So, Mercy Biku plans to replace the equipment of the company. The purchase of the new equipment would be at 3,500,000 pesos, gross of an early payment discount of 5%, of which the company failed to claim. An installation cost of 100,000 will be paid by the company to put the asset to use. The old equipment, carried at its salvage value of 80,000 pesos, was accepted by the selling company with trade-in value of 200,000 pesos. The scheduled repair for the old equipment, which will cost the company 450,000 pesos, will be avoided due to the purchase. However, an increase in raw materials inventory maintained amounting to 150,000 is expected due to the new equipment. Mercy reviewed the equipment's life, which was assessed to be 10 years. A salvage value of 125,000 pesos is expected from the equipment. The old equipment is currently operated at a cost of 950,000, while the new one is expected to incur only 450,000, excluding depreciation cost. The company has a tax rate of 30%, applicable as well to capital gains and losses. The cost of capital is at 10%. You may take a screenshot or pause the video for a while for you to try and solve the problem. So, I'll give you a chance. So now, let's answer the problem. Una, the purchase of the new equipment would be at 3,500,000. So, let's key that in using our basic calculator. 3,500,000 gross of an early payment discount of 5%. So, will the early payment discount, which was not claimed, be deducted to the initial cost of the investment? The answer is yes. Why? Because the company would have not incurred that should they have paid on time. Kaya, the incurrence of the early payment discount would be attributable to the company and not because of the investment. So, 3,500,000 times 0.95. So, 3,325,000. Para hindi na tayo masyadong nagsusulat, we press Memory Plus. An installation cost of 100,000 will be paid by the company. So, that 100,000 pesos, is that included as initial cash outlay for the investment? We also need to consider those items which are needed to put the asset or the investment to its intended use. So, yung 100,000 is included. So, Memory Plus. The old equipment carried at its salvage value of 80,000 was accepted by the selling company with trade-in value of 200,000. So, meaning you would have paid 200,000 pesos less because of the trade-in value. So, yung 200,000, let's key that in memory minus. So, bababawas siya dun sa babayaran natin. Tapos, meron pa tayong capital gain resulting from the trade-in. Magkano ba yon? Yung 200,000 minus 80,000. So you have a 120,000 gain. So that would pertain to an increase in your income. So that would be taxable at 0.3, 30%, meaning you have an increased tax payment of 36,000 if you would accept the investment. So, yung 36,000 na to, memory plus. We will add it. The scheduled repair for the old equipment, which will cost the company 450,000, will be avoided due to the purchase. So, yung 450,000 na yon will be avoided. So, that would pertain to savings. So, we would key in memory minus. Pero yung 450,000 na yan, dahil nakasave ka, you would have tax consequences. So, yung 450,000 times 0.3, 135,000, that would be an increase in your taxes paid. So, memory plus. However, an increase in raw materials inventory maintained amounting to 150,000 is expected due to the new equipment. So, what would that pertain to? Yung 150,000, that would be a change in net working capital. So, increase in inventory. So, what would happen to your net working capital? It would increase. Constructively, that is not an expenditure pertaining to your investment, but you spent it because of the initial investment. Therefore, you need to consider it in your capital investment decision. Now, yung 150,000 na yan shall be added as initial cash outlay. So, memory plus. Kasi that would be your change in net working capital, meaning you would invest that amount in your company as a consequence of partaking into the capital investment. Ang change in net working capital would be pertaining to the investment in your current assets, because in the operations of a business, the current assets are those assets that do not produce any inflow for the company. So for example, if you are holding cash, will that cash on hand yield returns for you? Hindi ba? Hindi. Kailan lang siya mag-yield ng returns? When you actually invest it, or kapag bumili ka ng goods, or when you purchase goods, magiging siyang inventory. Yung inventory on hand ba, it would yield returns for you? No. Kailan lang siya mag-yield ng returns? Kapag nabenta mo na. And even so, kapag nabenta mo na, tas receivable siya, kailan lang mag-yield ng return yung receivable? Kapag naging collection na siya. Tapos yung collection, i-reinvest mo in the company. Do we still have anything else pertaining to the initial investment? Bali, wala na. So now, we have our answer for the initial cash outlay or initial investment. Memory recall, 3,096,000. That would be your answer. So, kapag ginagamit natin yung memory function, yung memory plus would add to the item stored in the memory, and memory minus would deduct. Siyempre, kapag gagamitin mo yan, memory recall, tapos isa pa na pindot para ma-clear na yung memory so that we can use it to the next item. So, ang next naman nating hanapin, let's look for the operating cash flows. So, currently, the old equipment is operated at a cost of 950,000. Then, you would operate it now for 450,000. So, you would have a savings of 950,000 minus 450,000, 500,000. Ngayon, yung depreciation of the old equipment, saan natin siya makikita? Let us examine the problem. Makikita nyo na yung old equipment is carried at its salvage value. So, ibig sabihin, it is fully depreciated. So, how would we depreciate it moving forward? Zero na siya. Ngayon, yung ating new equipment, magkano ang depreciation niya? Magkano ba ang carrying value ng ating new equipment? You would look at that, 3,500,000 times 0.95, 3,325, ay plus the installation cost of 100,000. So, meron pa ba ang mga ibang items that is pertaining to the purchase of the equipment? Kasali ba yung trade-in? Hindi siya. Kasali ba yung scheduled repair? Hindi rin siya. Kasali ba yung increasing working capital? Hindi rin siya for the purposes of depreciation. 3,425,000 minus the salvage value of 125. So you have 33 divided by 10 years. You have 330,000. Yun yung annual depreciation mo. Times 0.3. So you have a 99,000 savings from depreciation. So we have the 500,000. So let's put this under memory plus. So yung 500,000 times 0.7 net of depreciation, 350,000. So memory plus. So yung sagot natin would be 449,000. That would be your operating cash inflows. So next naman, let's solve for the terminal cash flow. Remember that the terminal cash flow at the last year of the life of the asset, those would be additional cash inflows or outflows as the case may be. So memory recall and then memory recall again. Now, a salvage value of 125,000 is expected from the equipment. What would we do to that salvage value? We would consider that for your terminal cash flow. So how much would be the tax consequence of that? Wala. So memory plus. Ano pa? Meron pa ba? We have the increase in raw materials inventory maintained na amounting to 150,000. Bakit siya kinonsider as terminal cash flow? Hindi ba dun siya sa initial cash outlay? At the end of the life of the asset, yung increase in net working capital na 150,000, what would happen to that? Siyempre, mare-revert back na siya sa operations. You do not need to carry that amount anymore because that amount pertains to the investment. So, kapag natapos na yung investment, yung 150,000, babalik na siya for operations at the decision of the company or the management kung ano nang pwedeng gawin. So, they can reinvest that to other opportunities. So, effectively, yung 150,000 na nireserve mo for that purpose, babalik na siya sa'yo at your disposal. So, magkano yung iyong terminal cash flow? We have 275,000. So, for this, ang sagot is the initial cash outlay is 3,096,000. The operating cash flow is 449,000 and the terminal cash flow is 275,000. So I hope you have learned something on this video. So my next video would be about capital budgeting decisions. So capital budgeting cash flows tayo ngayon. So thank you.